Alright guys, today, right now, we are going to talk about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Where do I even start? Let's start by saying this is going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't read the book, you haven't finished the book, don't watch this video. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start. There are so many things I want to talk about. So many things I want to talk about. So yeah, I got this at midnight. I read it in a little under 3.5 hours. Oh man, was my brain fried. Let me just start off by saying I enjoyed this book. I borderline love this book, but it in no way is perfect. It is definitely not, I don't want to say it's not a Harry Potter book. It's not as good as a Harry Potter book. Because it is canon. It is part of the series. This is, yeah. So it's like, I don't want to say anything bad about it, but it's like, it wasn't perfect. I'm gonna say that. It was not the perfect Harry Potter book. There were parts of it that definitely felt like, no, this is fan fiction. I've read some really good fan fiction in my time as a Potter fan. I have read some really horrible fan fiction. I've read some really disturbing fan fiction. There's just some things you just can't unread it. It's like J.K. Rowling had a heavy hand in writing this. I guess let's just start out with, I think, the main reason why I had some trouble with this book. So actually let's back up further. So obviously it's not written like a Harry Potter book. It is, if you've ever read Shakespeare, it's written in play format. So it's, I mean, you don't get a whole lot of the character consciousness that we're used to and descriptiveness that we're used to. But so I don't know if anyone's really having any issues with reading it. It's like, I didn't. I fell into it perfectly fine, easier than I expected. Anyway, so of course, if you have read it, you know. If you haven't, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, it picks up right where, I mean, literally right where Deathly Hallows left off. Like, the first few pages is the epilogue with a few more pieces of dialogue thrown in. This is going to seem like all over the place. There's so many things I want to talk about. So anyway, to get back to what I was saying, one of the main reasons that I think I have little issues with this book is that it's based around time travel. Now, I watch a lot of sci-fi and like time travel episodes, and there are so many time travel episodes in sci-fi shows are my least favorite. My least favorite, because with time travel and sci-fi and stuff like that, it's like, oh, we're going to go back in time. We can't change too much, but we're going to change a little bit, and we will always get home. There's no risk. We'll always, even though somehow we got here with a freak thing, somehow we'll recreate that freak thing and get home. Obviously, with Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, you have time turners, because in this story there is, of course, in Order of the Phoenix, all the time turners got destroyed in the Battle of the Ministry. But 19 years later, a time turner has resurfaced, one that was illegally forged, obviously, and so the whole synopsis of the book is very heavily based around events that took place in, obviously, Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire. So 19 years later, Harry's working for the head of magical law enforcement. Hermione is Minister of Magic? Like, at first I was like, come on, really? But then I was like, no, that makes sense. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. And of course Ron works for Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, so still. So of course you have Harry and Ginny married, and they have their 3 kids. Ron and Hermione are married, happily very married, and they have Hugo and Rose. Rose and Hugo. Hugo's younger. But anyway, so with Harry being the head of magical law enforcement, when this time turner, illegally made time turner, resurfaces, it's obviously his responsibility to take care of it. And he gets a visit from Amos Diggory. Amos Diggory, of course, insists that Harry use it to go back to the night Cedric died and save him. Obviously, he's an old man now, lost in grief, but anyway, at this point, of course, you also know that Harry and Albus's relationship after the epilogue in Deathly Hallows gets a little strained because Albus goes to Hogwarts. He gets sorted into Slytherin, and he's just not as popular and as talented as Harry, and that's a lot to live up to. So his time at Hogwarts is not as magical as Harry's, and Harry can't understand why, and Albus can't understand Harry, and so there's a whole bunch of tension between Harry and Albus. And another reason I felt a little like reading this book was like coming home and meeting up with old friends, but it was like meeting up with old friends you haven't seen in 19 years. It's like when we left Harry, like actually getting insight into Harry's head, he was a 17-year-old kid. We'd grown up with him. We know him backward and forward. And then you jump suddenly 19 years into the future and you're reading this Harry that has been through some stuff. He's a father now. I mean, so Harry feels a little different, and you feel a little alienated because you're not used to this older Harry. And him having to deal with fatherhood and a troubled son, and so it feels a little weird, which I mean was to be expected. Albus befriends Scorpius Malfoy, which is of course Draco's only son, and they become best friends, and it's all about Cursed Child. Is all about them trying to steal this time turner and go back and fix the past where Cedric died and make it so that he lives. I don't know. I know it's explained in the book, but to me I still don't really get the reasoning behind Albus like jumping on this thing where he has to go save Cedric and change the past. I don't know. To me it felt really forced, like it was just to move plot along and create a story. It didn't really feel organic to me why Albus like jumped on this thing so wholeheartedly that he was willing to use Polyjuice Potion and break into the Ministry and steal a time turner and go back in time. I don't know. It just didn't feel, I don't know. It felt very fan fiction-y. Another thing that really kind of threw me off that I was like, did I just read that? Was the whole thing with the trolley witch. When Scorpius and Albus try to sneak off the train, and then the trolley witch is on top of the train with them, and then her hands turn into spikes. That was a little weird. That felt very weird. Like, I still don't know how to really process that actually, I actually read that actually was printed in Word. I don't know, I didn't care for that. That was very weird. Do you think they'd have better protection measures on the Hogwarts Express, like you can't open the windows unless it's an emergency, or a shield charm where you can't get off the train or something. So anyway, I got over the whole time travel story thing, as parts of it ended up being really cool and I liked it. Seeing the Voldemort ruled world with Voldemort and Valor, like that was awesome. That was really cool and scary, and like Umbridge is still headmistress and Snape is still alive. Like there were a lot of bittersweet moments in that book. It's like, whoa, the Snape's, like you get to read Snape again, and you get to read Cedric again. Yeah, no, there was like a lot of really nice little moments like that. One of the things I loved about the book was you get to see these couples. You get to see them happily married and interacting, and yeah, you get to see Harry and Ginny and Ron and Hermione, and they're talking about renewing their vows, and that led me to some serious anxiety. Okay, because things were just too happy and Ron was being too sweet, and I thought for sure they were gonna kill Ron off. Like I was like, nope, He made it through the first series. I got lucky. Now they're gonna kill Ron off, and I was so terrified. I was so ready to like throw my book across the room and just walk away and leave it there forever. But thankfully that didn't happen. Another thing I really liked is that fan fiction highly influenced parts of this story. And a fan fiction theory paid off, and it won that Scorpius and Rose, which Rose is just like a little Hermione, complete little Hermione. But Scorpius and Rose, like the book left them with a, they're probably going to end up together thing. And that has been a fan fiction desire ever since the epilogue first came out, and they were like, oh, wait, Malfoy has a son that's the same age as Ron, Hermione's daughter. That's gonna happen. And it did. So that was kind of fun to watch that happen. Okay, so the biggest thing in the story, the biggest plot twist, the biggest, like, fandom shaking plot thing. Yeah, we'll go with that. So, of course, in the beginning of the book, for years there's been rumors that the Malfoys couldn't conceive, and so they used a time turner to go back and impregnate Malfoy's wife with Voldemort's child. And so everyone thinks that Scorpius is actually Voldemort's son, and all that, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, that's not true, but it turns out Voldemort had a daughter. Holy crap, no time turner involved. But at some point in the, let's see, 4 years that Voldemort was alive again after he got resurrected in the cemetery, and the end of Deathly Hallows when he was killed, him and Bellatrix did stuff. Like, I get it. It's cool that, like, yeah, Voldemort ended up having a daughter, and, like, serious evil stuff's gonna happen. And Bellatrix, wait a minute. Yeah. Wait a minute, so when the crap was Bellatrix pregnant? Okay, because she breaks out of Azkaban in Order of the Phoenix, middle of Order of the Phoenix. Then you see her in Half-Blood Prince, not knocked up, at the beginning in Half-Blood Prince. And you see her at the beginning of Deathly Hallows, not knocked up. She must have had Delphine somewhere between the beginning of Half-Blood Prince and the beginning of Deathly Hallows. That's like the only time frame possible. Anyway, it's just hard to picture Voldemort doing the deed with Bellatrix or anyone. Anyway, so yeah, Voldemort ended up having a daughter. Anyway, as a whole, it's like I really liked Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I would definitely, if you're a Harry Potter fan, I don't know how you wouldn't read it, because yeah, it's just really nice to get back with your old friends and learn what happens. And the only thing I guess I can say is, if they do write more books, I want them to be in Harry Potter format. Like, I want them to be real books. And apparently next year they're going to be releasing a actual Harry Potter and the Cursed Child book. Book. Not just the rehearsal edition script. So I'm definitely going to be buying that and reading it and seeing what's different. And I don't know, I guess we'll see next year what comes after that. So, alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Cursed Child review. Let me know what you guys thought about this book in the comments. Yeah, I haven't actually heard anything yet, like how the book is being received, what fans thought. So I should probably look into that. But I did really enjoy it. Like I said, there was some little things that was just a little, like, I don't want to say like annoying or anything like that, but it's just like, that's not right. Keep reading. I don't know, it's just, but I did really enjoy it. I'm excited to add it to the collection. I'm really glad that it exists, and I'm really glad that J.K. Rowling loves her fans so much that she insisted that this rehearsal script version be a physical thing that we could have. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this mumbled jumbled mess of a review. I love you guys, and I will see you later. Like a sweet? Why, yes I would. And heck, hey, look, it's a Hufflepuff book. Hufflepuff book. It's watermelon. Remember what we're talking about. You're nasty.